In this video, we're going to discuss a machine which many overlook, and much to their detriment. Often, when one thinks of missile boats, their attention is grabbed by archers, catapults, or even perhaps the longbow. What they rarely think of is a medium mech with enough firepower to compete with these giants, albeit with some sacrifices to do so. Today we are going to discuss Saurian Enterprises' Rainbringer, the Trebuchet. A medium mech weighing in at 50 tons, the Trebuchet came to life in the final year of the Star League, 2780, and would rapidly find its way into the hands of House Marik, mostly. Downgrades were required to keep it in production, which led to its most commonly seen variant appearing. Often, the Trebuchet, or Trenchbucket as it is also known, finds itself in the supporting role, there to back up indirect and direct long-range fire mechs, such as longbows, stalkers, archers, and other assortments of mechs, as well as famously being paired with the CN9 Centurion, the latter being meant in some ways to work with it directly. The design would spread with time across the inner sphere, though the Free Worlds League would see its broadest implementation for the most part. By every metric, this mech seems to be a successful weapon of war, though it's not without problems. This warrior of a mech would see the face of war for centuries before being taken into the jaws of new conflicts, fighting the clans, Blakists, as well as the myriad number of forces of the Dark Ages. The most prominent model of the TBT series during the Succession Wars would be the Tbt-5n Trebuchet. Powered by a Magna 250 standard engine weighing in at 12.5 tons, the Trebuchet can run an impressive 86.4 kilometers per hour, or 8 movement points in the tabletop game. This movement makes the TBT no slouch in regards to its overall pace, and allows it to keep up with faster elements in medium and light formations, giving it the opportunity to move ahead, although with caution, to support lighter units which may be engaging ahead of the main force, as well as giving it the ability to potentially escape dangerous situations involving heavier mechs. For heat management, the Tbt-5n has a barely adequate 10 standard heatsinks, meaning this model, for the most part, requires careful management of its heat to not become overburdened and putting the mech at risk during engagements. In terms of offensive capabilities, the Trenchbucket is well served by two range brackets of weapons. First, it has the stunningly powerful set of twin Zeus LRM missile systems, rated to fire up to 15 missiles each, meaning its long-range fire is equivalent to that of the legendary catapult in raw missile deployment. Each launcher, like the catapult, is supported by 1 ton of LRM ammunition. This ammunition total is somewhat of a problem, as the TBT, when providing support, is meant to operate close to supply lines. Should it be cut off from its logistics train or forced into a situation where it has to operate behind enemy lines, it will rapidly find itself wanting in terms of its overall munitions situation. For close-range backup, it's well served by 3 Magna Mark II medium lasers, giving it a strong enough close-range fire ability to ward off many light harassers, or to hold its own long enough to escape larger, heavier targets, or awaiting assistance to deal with them. Overall, the TBT's firepower is very impressive for its weight, as it rivals much of what the Catapult series is capable of, though it lacks the extra close-in firepower, jumping ability, and superb heat management. It still offers a great deal for a mech which is less C-bills to procure, lighter and easier to transport, and is in active production during the Succession Wars, unlike its heavier counterpart. Finally, for physical defense, you begin to see another weakness in its overall design, which is that the Tbt-5n is only protected by 7.5 tons of armor. While this is not awful for its weight, it edges towards being flatly under-armored for a 50-ton medium mech, though admittedly it's not supposed to be near the front lines. With this limited protection though, there is the other burden, which is that its ammunition becomes quickly a liability if it becomes the subject of direct fire. The Tbt-5n is a superb war machine overall. Relatively light for its capabilities and fast, it can provide support to myriad kinds of lances, as well as act as a semi-inexpensive supporter for other long-range fire mechs. In addition, it pairs well with all-round mechs like the CN9 series, or almost any other trooper. Powerful at range and competent in close, pilots will need to mask its weakness of limited ammunition by taking shots which are more likely than not to hit, conserving vital missiles, as well as avoiding direct engagements lest its anemic armor is revealed and puts the mech in jeopardy. Even with these faults, the Tbt-5n is one of the best long-range support mechs of the Succession Wars, and for its cost, may be the best overall. Militaries in the Inner Sphere are built on medium mechs, not heavies. When there are commanders at the front who need a storm of support, in more instances than any other, it's the Trebuchet who is going to bring the rain. There are a multitude of TBT series mechs fulfilling a large volume of roles, from the Succession Wars through to the Ilkhan era. In this portion, we are going to cover 3 additional models of the TBT series. The Tbt-3C is the original variant of the Trenchbucket and a product of the Star League, as well as an extremely rare design overall. This variant is an incredibly destructive creation of higher technology. Case is installed with its ammunition to keep it safe, and a 300XL engine is installed for increased speed while saving weight. Twin LRM-15 launchers are there as well, and are assisted by Artemis 4 control systems. 4 medium lasers come installed for better close-range defense, and making it appear with the catapult at that range. Better yet, it has double heat sinks, meaning it can fire almost its entire payload with only minimum heat overages. The Tbt-3C, of course, has access to much better technology than its successor, the 5N, and outperforms it. But more impressively, I would argue it also outperforms the Tbt-7M, its Clan Invasion era successor. It's the first variant, and its first place as well, it would seem. The Tbt-7M would be the standardized upgrade made by House Marik during the Clan Invasion, and would be exported to the Federated Commonwealth as well as the Draconis Combine during the Clan Invasion. It comes with a 250XL engine, keeping its speed but saving weight, though at the expense of durability. It mounts double heat sinks and adds jump jets to increase mobility overall. It uses a case to protect its ammunition and comes installed with a NARC missile beacon, which in theory is great, but puts the Tbt-7M in a compromising position should it actually try to use it. Overall, this design, though it is an upgrade, is one with many trade-offs, some of which may be more costly than beneficial depending on circumstances, though it's not as much of a victim as some of the other TRO-3050 Helm memory core designs and upgrades. Finally, in the Ilkhan era, the Tbt-9N appears to be the latest broad variant available. It has a 300XL engine, giving it a reasonable speed of 97 km per hour, as well as possessing an XL gyro, both of which are being used in an attempt to save weight. It comes installed with 3 medium variable speed pulse lasers, and 2 clan quality LRM-15 launchers, with a total of 3 tons of ammunition. This is an update of the original design in many ways, just using the latest technologies, though this does face some issues, namely that it is much more fragile in many respects due to having both an XL engine and an XL gyro, meaning it does not want to become the focal point of enemy attention for myriad reasons. There are other variants as well we didn't cover at this time, such as the deadly SRM variant, the Tbt-5S, and a series of others, just to be clear. The TBT series of Battlemechs are in many ways some of the most important machines in the Free Worlds League military, and in other militaries of the Inner Sphere. When people imagine fire support, they often view much heavier vehicles as being the delivery systems for the support. But the truth is, in most instances, the Trebuchet, and even to a lesser extent the Whitworth, at least during the Succession Wars, are the real ones delivering indirect devastation to enemies for most mech-on-mech engagements. When soldiers or Mechwarriors are fighting for their lives at the front lines across the Inner Sphere and periphery, looking for support to come from an extended range, it's the Trenchbucket that answers these soldiers. It brings the rain. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. There is also a YouTube member program to support this channel as well, and I appreciate the support from members immensely. With that, I will catch all of you in the comment section below.